talented enough. Don't fear change. You may lose something good, but you'll probably end up gaining something better. With this in my mind, I have decided to go to India for grade 11. Talented enough. What can I say? My entire life, I was under my parents' guidance. And now, I'll have to live by myself in a hostel, doing everything by myself. I'll be losing contact with most of my friends in Bahrain. I'll have to leave the gables. Let's say my whole life is changing. Does anyone watch Winnie the Pooh here? Few days back, I was watching Winnie the Pooh to get rid of the numerous questions in my head about what's going to happen to me after I go to India. Let me show you a small clip.
If ever there's a tomorrow when we're not together, there's something you must remember.
And what might that be, Christopher Robin?
You're braver than you believe, and stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think.
Oh, that's easy. We're braver than a bee, and longer than a tree, and taller than a goose. Or was that a moose?
No, silly old bear. You're braver than you believe, and stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think.
Ever thought how deep the words of a fictional character can be? You are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. This message reminded me that despite the current adversity many of us are facing, despite the current adversity many of us are facing, there's still a light at the end of the tunnel. You are braver than you seem and stronger than you believe. Have you ever felt you are not brave or strong enough to do something? Until you rise up to challenges and step out of your comfort zone, you will never realize how brave you are. I remember in 6th grade, we went to Lost Paradise for a field trip. What a day! Me and my friends had decided to go up to the rocket slide. As I looked at the height of the slide, my feet froze. I watched some people go down the slide with excitement. An unwanted spider started weaving its web inside my head. What is going to happen to me if I go down that high-speed slide? What if the slide breaks? Then came our turn. I told my friends, there is no way I'm going up that thing. But my exceptionally supportive friends dragged me to the slide. I held the tube like my life depended on it. As the person pushed us down the slide, I started screaming my lungs out. And finally, as the ride ended, I started laughing like a maniac. Best experience? Nah. But it was probably worth it though. I realized I was braver than I thought. No matter what happened in your life, no matter what you have lost or who you have lost, you choose how you respond to fear. Courage isn't something we're born with. It's a skill we develop. You are still here, and that itself is a proof that you have courage. Fear can be a path, The more you go through it, the more resilient you will be. As the saying goes, things don't get easier, you just get better. I probably can't. I'm not good as everyone else. In fact, everyone else is much better than me because they know what they're doing. And me, I still haven't figured anything out. We all have this voice in our head that some of us might not even be aware of because we're so used to the voice being there. We wonder if we're good enough. We fear rejection. We place limitations on ourselves. We are often our own worst critics. But let's flip the perspective for a moment, shall we? And ask ourselves, how often during a day do you give yourself a pat on the back? How often do you look at yourself in the mirror and genuinely smile as a token of appreciation of who you are and what you do? Haven't we all blamed ourselves because we didn't get the results we wanted, even though we put the 100% effort into it? Yes, you did not receive the results you wanted, but remember, there are always those little things that have put a smile on your face and given you a sense of achievement. Take a look at it and celebrate them because every one of us requires a round of applause. While there is much to be learned from Winnie the Pooh and his little friends, we often take ourselves to be too old for them. Remember, you're braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. And it's about time you take that first step. Back to you.
Alma, can you type the speech title in the chat, please?
Yes, sir.
And Tanmay, you can note down if you have not taken the speech title, you can note it down. Over to you, Simran.
Thank you, Gabriel Elma. Now, I would like to call upon Gabriel Lena to deliver her CC10 speech.
Am I visible and audible?
Yes.
Thank you. As I'm sitting in front of the laptop, waiting for the results to be announced, thousands of thoughts running through my head. Will my name be called out? Will I fail? Will I disappoint my parents again? Suddenly, I heard a lady speaking. Ladies and gentlemen, here are the most anticipated results of this competition. The third prize goes to Richard. That's not my name. The second prize goes to Neha. Oh, that's not my name again. And she continued. The first prize goes to Sahana. Congratulations. My name wasn't called out. I didn't get a prize. I could feel my heart beating and I was disappointed in myself. Respected Toastmaster, Cavaliers, and most welcome guest, a very warm good evening to one and all. We often hear speeches and talk about how failures are the stepping stones to success. But how many of us are not afraid of failure? Should we be afraid to fail? Society that we exist in often pressures us to succeed at everything we do. If we fail at something, we are called losers and mocked at. What will others think if I fail? Will they think I'm incapable? These thoughts haunt us day and night. Fear of failure is when you let that fear stop you from achieving what you desire. This kind of fear, most of the time, is irrational and continuous. We should find a way to overcome this fear because it can become the greatest obstacle in achieving the desired outcome. When I look back at my fears, I grasp the moment that I've been so afraid of failure that I lost some of great once in a lifetime opportunities. Fear of failure subconsciously weakened my effort to overcome a greater failure. Many of us have possibly faced this at one point of our life. This fear of failure can be restricting. This fear of failure can bring our life to a pause. And this fear of failure puts a full stop on our way to achieve our goals. When I was studying in third grade, my school announced a talent fest competition. I was often fascinated by poems and how they were recited with feelings and emotions. So I decided to give it a try. I signed up for the competition and started preparing for it. The day of the competition came, and I was very nervous. The children around me seemed so confident that it gave me butterflies in my stomach. My name was called out, and I positioned myself on the stage. I started off with great confidence. But midway through the poem, I forgot the lines and I found myself stammering. I could see the children in front of me giggling and making fun of me. I, uh, I found myself trembling. My heart started to beat faster and my eyes filled with tears. I ran out of the stage feeling humiliated. After a few months, an inter-school competition was announced. And my thoughts conflicted. Should I give it a try or not? Will I be humiliated all over again? This fear that I instilled in me stopped me from attempting that competition. And I did not attempt any poem recitals for many years, which resulted in the loss of many chances that could have helped me in improving myself. 3 years later, the same Talent Fest competition was announced, and I decided not to give it a try. That day, as I was scrolling through Instagram, I saw this quote: failure seldom stops you. What stops you is the fear of failure. I stopped scrolling and started thinking what I have been doing all this time, wasting away the opportunities that were handed down to me. I decided that one failure wasn't going to stop me from trying. I signed up for that competition and I recited the same poem that I'd failed to recite 3 years ago. But this time, it was a bit different. I delivered it with confidence. I did not win any prize, but I was happy that I was able to stand on that stage without being afraid to fail and brimming with confidence. Often, we face this fear of failure. This makes us doubt our skills. With extreme fatigue and hard work due to the obstacles that arise along the way, it seems to us that we are not moving towards our goals. Failures shouldn't be taken seriously or personally because they are the part of the life that you cannot avoid. You should not let this feeling affect your self-esteem and begin to consider yourself less capable. Rather than letting failures weaken you, you should make yourself more experienced, wisen, and strengthen yourself with this failure. The author of the famous series, Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling. But before she published this madly popular series of fantasy novels, she was nearly penniless, severely depressed, divorced, trying to raise a child on her own while attending school and writing a novel. Through hard work and determination, Rowling went from depending on welfare to being the world's one of the most beloved authors in only 5 years. US President Abraham Lincoln. While today, Abraham Lincoln is known as one of the greatest leaders in the history of the US. He started numerous failed businesses, went bankrupt twice, and was defeated in the age of 26 while he made campaigns for the public office. While President Lincoln's personal story did not have a happy ending, he changed the course of history for the United States and the millions of people who were forcibly brought here as slavers. Most of us will stumble and fall in life. Doors will get slammed in our faces and we might make some bad decisions. But imagine if J.K. Rowling had given up on her dream to publish her novel, while she was rejected by several publishers. Imagine if Abraham Lincoln had listened to those people who told him he'd never do anything after failing miserably. Failure is not permanent. We should perceive it as a teacher who will teach us to get right back up, keep going, and fight the obstacles that we might further face. It's a part of our own life that we should learn what will lead us to success. And that's the story of a winner. Over to you.
We'll take a 5 minutes break now, so that evaluators have time to evaluate.
10 minutes is up.
Okay, evaluators ready?
Yes.
Okay, Tanmay is ready. What about Simran?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we can start with Tanmay then. Okay, before that, Simran, did you get the title of Lena?
Yes, I got.
Okay, right.
So can I start?
Yeah, please, Tanmay.
Respected Toastmasters, fellow Gavaliers, and most welcome guests, a very warm good evening to one and all. My speaker today, Gavalier Elma, has completed her CC10, titled What Winnie Taught Me in 9 minutes and 3 seconds. Starting with the starting, she had an amazing opening. Her opening was very attention grabbing and she used extremely good pauses. These pauses left us waiting to know what was going to happen next, what she's going to tell us, what we can take away from her speech. Now, the objective of a speech is to inspire the audience, and a very important part of being able to inspire someone or a group of people is to be able to make the audience relate with you. If the audience doesn't relate with you, then no one wants to listen to an outsider come and give you a lecture. When an outsider comes and tells you something, it becomes a lecture. When someone you know, someone you trust comes and tells you something, it becomes advice. Now, she has used two very nice examples using which she has related to the audience. Example number one is obviously Winnie the Pooh. She played a small video. She told us about her experience with cartoons and how dialogues in cartoons can have deeper meanings. This is something a lot of us can relate to, especially children, especially since we are children and at least at some point have watched cartoons. Example number two is her fear of going down the rocket slide at the water park. Now, this is something I've experienced, but I was too scared to go down it, so I did not actually go down the slide. So, kudos on using those examples. This is something that has definitely helped you achieve your purpose. Now, this was undoubtedly a fabulous speech, but there were a few points I think you could have improved on that would help you polish your speech even more. One of them was that during the beginning of the speech, especially during the first part of the speech, I felt like you were shifting your weight from one leg to another. This can be quite distracting to the audience as it is, after all, an 8 to 10 minute speech. It is significantly longer than a usual speech, a usual 5 to 7 minute speech. So you want every bit of attention that you can get from the audience. So it would have been better if you had stood in one place while giving one point, then moved to one side of the screen while giving another point, and then moved back to the opposite side of the screen when giving another point, rather than shifting your weight from one leg to another. Another thing I noticed was for the majority of your speech, you had great eye contact with the camera. But during some places, like when you were asking a question or giving an example, I remember you look to the side and then look back into the camera. It gives an unsettling effect to the person watching you, as we don't know what is there to the side. It only makes sense if you're looking straight at us and talking to us because we can see your face. Um, so it would have been better if you had consistently looked at the camera and spoken. Now, this was a great speech. You had a great message. You definitely inspired me to take the first step and not be afraid of uh, pointless things. You had excellent voice modulation, great facial expressions, and powerful pauses. You definitely achieved your objective of a CC10. Thank you.
So our next evaluator
Sir,
is Simran.
can you give me a minute because I just want to change my internet connection. There's some problem with this. It's breaking.
What happened to Simran?
Sir, I joined back. Shall I start?
Okay. Yes, continue.
Failure seldom stops you. What stops you is the fear of failure. Respected Toastmasters, fellow Cavaliers, and my speaker in particular, a warm good evening to you all. What an absolutely impactful speech it was. I found the speech engaging and filled with life lessons. I was really hooked to it, right from the very beginning till the end. Your speech was very well crafted and delivered. Your ideas effectively built upon each other, kept me intrigued to know how you would develop your ideas further. Generally, a speech begins with a quote, a joke, a fact, or a stats. But your speech did not have any of those. And you were unique right there. You started off with a personal experience, and that really brought a lot of impact. And I'm sure it grabbed the attention of the audience. You used appropriate pauses throughout your speech, and that made your speech much more effective and understandable. It also helped me follow each idea as you spoke. I love the various facts you incorporated in your speech. Facts such as that of J.K. Rowling and Abraham Lincoln really gave me a deeper insight about your topic, and we got to know something new. I love the way you brought in proper emotions for the various characters you displayed in the stories of your speech. I could see the characters right in front of me, and it didn't seem that the same person was enacting the different characters. What I really loved about your speech, and is one of my favorites, is the power-packed message you had about about that we must perceive failure as a teacher who will help us keep going. If I were in your shoes, I would have avoided constant movement. I noticed that you were constantly moving from your right to left. So that seemed a little distracting. So I suggest that you move on the four sides with purpose. That will avoid constant distraction. I also noticed that you were having a little tensed expression on your face in certain parts of your speech. For instance, during the conclusion of your speech, during the last lines of your speech, you were having a little tensed expression. So I suggest that you keep a smile on your face whenever necessary, and that will really invite a lot of positive impact. In summation, the speech was great. It had a wonderful introduction, great ideas, wonderful facts, and a powerful message. If you could just avoid constant movement and maintain a smile on your face whenever necessary, I'm sure you will be an A speaker in future. You have inspired me to perceive failure as a teacher who will help me keep going. Over to you.
Let me create a poll. I've launched the poll. Please check. So our best evaluator for today is Simran, and our best speaker for today is Elma. So congratulations, everybody. Congratulations, Lena, for completing CC10. I'm really happy that both of you came forward and completed CC10, because last few years, if you notice, many of them are leaving the club once they reach 10th or 12th, and they would have completed only CC8, and they just leave the club without completing these two speeches. So I'm really happy that in this busy schedule, and you could really come forward and complete the speech. That's the reason even we were not prepared to have a meeting, so we decided that we should have this meeting before they go, because this is the only opportunity to complete the CC10. So I'm really happy that you came forward and completed this. What you need to do is you need to complete that form, which is Abhinav. If you have tuitions, you can leave. Huh? We have officially
Yeah, okay, sir.
done. Yeah, okay.
Bye, sir.
See you. Thanks for joining, Abhinav. So Lena and Elma, what you need to do is you need to fill that last page form with all the speech names and the evaluator's name, if you remember, and the speech title, and possibly the dates also, and send it to me. You can leave it with your parents. I'll collect it from them. I'll pass by and collect it, or somehow I'll get it done, and I will sign whatever is missing. Signatures are missing. I'll get it signed, and then I'll send it to Toastmaster International, and I'll get you the certificate. That form need to be sent it to get the certificate. It will take some time, but I will definitely follow up and get the certificate. But that form need to be completed before you go, and leave it with your parents, and we will coordinate with each other and get it when I pass by or when they pass by. You can give it together. You can either keep it with Lena or Elma. When I pass by, I'll collect it, or maybe you can parents can drop in sometimes. Either way, we'll get it as soon as possible. Okay. So all the best, Lena and Elma, for your future. I'll speak to you in person later. Before you go, I'll call you and speak to you. I'll try to meet you all, but I'm not sure whether it will happen, because Lena is going on the 14th, so chances are very less. I'll try to meet you before you go. Okay. Anyway, thanks for all of you for joining and making this meeting happen. We'll be in touch anyway. Farhan, thanks for joining, Farhan. Nice to see you. We missed you for the party.
Yes, sir. I also missed you all.
Anyway, we'll catch up soon anyway. Bye all of you then. Bye-bye.